Picture this: state television broadcast footage of soldiers running war drills. Nothing unusual there, except the enemy they are fighting is not anywhere near their own borders. It is off the coast of Florida. It is in the Gulf of Mexico. It is in Cuba's backyard. Why would a country rehearse a war thousands of miles from home in the one region the United States has treated as untouchable for 200 years? In 1823, President James Monroe declared the Western Hemisphere closed to European colonization, establishing a foundational policy that defined American foreign relations for the next 2 centuries. This doctrine cast the Caribbean, Central America, and South America as a protected U.S. sphere of influence, off-limits to overseas strategic rivals. In 1904, President Theodore Roosevelt expanded this logic with his corollary, asserting the right of the United States to intervene militarily to stabilize regional economies and block foreign competitors from gaining ground. For generations, Washington enforced this hemispheric perimeter through diplomatic pressure, naval deployments, and direct military interventions, cementing an expectation that external powers must remain on the periphery. This long history of unilateral control created a persistent regional wariness of foreign powers, shaping the lens through which Latin American political elites interpret any external economic or security presence. Today, as new global actors establish strong ties in the region, they confront the weight of this historic geopolitical legacy. China's 2001 accession to the World Trade Organization was the turning point that accelerated its economic entry into Latin America, allowing state-backed firms to systematically build a physical footprint across the region. This commercial expansion carries long-term security implications. In December last year, a military simulation run by the People's Liberation Army in Henan province and broadcast by state media modeled combat operations in a hypothetical Western confrontation in the Caribbean near the Panama Canal. Defense analysts presented this exercise as reported signaling rather than an imminent battlefield reality, but the drill outlines how civilian maritime access can support strategic positioning in times of geopolitical tension. The intersection of commercial activity and security centers on dual-use vulnerability. Modern shipping terminals are highly digitized environments that generate vast amounts of operational data. By combining commercial port-closed circuit television feeds with automatic identification system tracking, operators can monitor naval movements in real time. Direct access to proprietary container manifests and logistics databases allows foreign entities to map regional shipping patterns, identifying the contents, supply chains, and exact destinations of sensitive cargo. During a crisis, long-term terminal access could provide the administrative and physical authority needed to support vessel interdiction, or to deny port operations to adversaries entirely, effectively closing key shipping lanes. More advanced security concerns focus on reported developments in containerized weapons technology. Assertions suggest that military forces could launch cruise missiles or drone swarms directly from standard shipping containers mounted on ordinary commercial cargo vessels. While these specific claims require firm corroboration, the potential for such systems exposes the expanding overlap between merchant shipping and military operations. These technological capabilities indicate how commercial investments can double as potential surveillance and staging platforms, altering the strategic calculus in the Western Hemisphere. Since China entered the World Trade Organization in 2001, bilateral commerce has grown by more than 30% annually. By 2024, this trade surpassed $518 billion, with projections aiming for $700 billion within a decade. Beijing is now the top trading partner of South America and a close second across the entire Latin American region. This economic integration creates substantial commercial reliance. Chile, for example, sends more than 36% of its exports directly to China, a flow worth approximately $38 billion a year, dominated by copper. In the strategic energy sector, Chinese state banks have extended over $120 billion in oil-backed financing since 2005. Venezuela secured $95 billion of its loans through future oil shipments, while Brazil's state-run Petrobras received $15 billion across 3 separate tranches. Beyond fossil fuels, Chinese state enterprises have targeted the clean energy supply chain. The lithium triangle of Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile contains more than half of the world's known lithium resources. To secure this raw material, Chinese firms have acquired major equity stakes, including Ganfeng Lithium's 50% share in Argentina's Cauchari-Olaroz mine and CATL's $1 billion extraction partnership in Bolivia. These economic bonds steadily translate into diplomatic alignment. In March 2023, Honduras severed its long-standing relations with Taiwan to establish official ties with Beijing. Later that same year, the Central American Parliament voted to strip Taiwan of its observer status, illustrating how economic reach secures direct political outcomes in America's traditional sphere of influence. An analysis by the Center for a Secure Free Society maps Chinese involvement in over 30 seaports across Latin America and the Caribbean. 10 of these harbors are run directly by Chinese firms, while roughly 24 others were financed or built by Chinese interests. This footprint combines direct terminal operations, state-backed financing, and physical construction. In the Caribbean, China Merchants Port Holdings secured full control of Kingston Freeport Terminal under a 30-year concession. A $250 million investment upgraded equipment and dredged the harbor, allowing Kingston to handle vessels of up to 14,000 20-foot equivalent units. This Jamaican gateway sits directly adjacent to main Panama Canal shipping routes. On Mexico's Pacific coast, the port of Manzanillo serves as a central logistics hub. Bilateral trade between Mexico and China grew from $4.55 billion in 2001 to $136.74 billion in 2022. To expand the facility, the Inter-American Development Bank issued a loan alongside a contribution from China's co-financing fund, supporting a $567 million project. Terminal operator Hutchison is now managing a larger $2.7 billion expansion plan. On Mexico's Atlantic side, the port of Veracruz is undergoing a Phase 2 expansion to reach a capacity of 2.4 million 20-foot equivalent units. The primary contractor is China Harbor Engineering Company, which is installing automated systems and modern surveillance. Through these diverse agreements, state-backed entities like Hutchison and China Harbor Engineering Company are establishing long-term commercial footholds at the hemisphere's most sensitive maritime choke points. When Washington launched its rival infrastructure initiative in 2021 to counter Beijing's regional influence, the program opened with just $6 million. By comparison, China secured its presence through sustained capital and immediate crisis response. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Beijing dispatched millions of vaccine doses to Latin America, while Western nations hoarded supplies. This public health diplomacy yielded immediate strategic results. Brazil, which had initially moved to restrict Huawei from its 5G networks, reversed its ban shortly after receiving critical shipments of Chinese vaccines. Today, Huawei technology powers approximately half of Brazil's 3G and 4G infrastructure. Former United States diplomats warn that diplomatic pressure alone cannot rebuild a foundation of trust that took decades to erode. Washington's response to the shifting allegiance has increasingly relied on direct pressure. The U.S. posture has included threats of force to reclaim control of the Panama Canal, punitive tariffs levied against Brazil, and a U.S. Special Forces operation that removed Venezuela's president following a prolonged blockade. Yet this assertive strategy confronts a stark macroeconomic reality. Economist Nassim Nicholas Taleb's data shows a sharp global change. The U.S. share of the global economy fell from 20% to 15%, while China's share expanded from 6% to more than 20%. While Washington maintains a near $1 trillion defense budget, Beijing achieves far greater military-industrial output per dollar spent. For Latin American nations, the decision is not ideological, but practical. A region-by-region calculation of which power will prove the more reliable partner. The ultimate answer to that question will shape the future of the Western Hemisphere. Today, Latin America's ports and networks operate on global terms, not American ones. As Beijing's leverage deepens, Washington must confront a multipolar hemisphere right at its doorstep. The backyard has become a global front line. Share your thoughts on this power shift below.